In the depths of the galaxy, where countless stars twinkled like distant fires, stories of an ancient and mysterious race had long been dismissed as legend. Among the sprawling empires that controlled vast stretches of space, the idea of humans, beings, said to possess unmatched resilience and strength, was a whispered myth, a bedtime story told to children but never believed by adults. The Andari Dominion, one of the oldest and most powerful factions, sat in its colossal command tower, orbiting, a bright blue gas giant. Inside, scholars gathered in the dim glow of holographic projections, debating the origins of humanity. Humans are nothing more than myth, Professor Velen argued, tapping a digital map that showed no confirmed human worlds or fleets. No credible evidence has ever surfaced, just stories passed down through generations. His colleague, Scholar Thessa, shook her head. But the legends persist. Survivors from long-lost expeditions have spoken of them. Ships unlike any others, fast, powerful, and deadly, and of a race that could endure anything. Outside their chamber, fleets prepared for an escalating conflict with a rival empire. The galaxy was on edge, political tensions simmering beneath fragile treaties. In the middle of this uneasy calm, the idea of a lost species, the humans, was little more than background noise. Yet beneath the surface of the galaxy's grand stage, something was stirring. Thousands of light years away, deep within an uncharted region, a fleet of warships unlike any other moved silently. Their sleek lines and vast size defied the known designs of galactic powers. Massive engines hummed with a quiet power that suggested both strength and grace. Within the flagship Indomitable, Captain Arik Sloan stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the star field ahead. The human fleet had been traveling through the void for years, hidden and cautious, waiting for the right moment. "Captain," his first officer spoke, "we are approaching the edge of Perseus Rift. Sensors indicate increased activity from the Zalari coalition. They are moving fleets toward this sector." Arik nodded, his expression calm but firm. "Prepare the fleet for observation. We remain peaceful for now. Our purpose is not conquest, but protection." Back in the Andari Dominion, a communication burst cut through the static. "Unidentified fleet detected in Perseus Rift," the voice reported urgently. "Ships appear technologically advanced beyond anything in current records." The Dominion's commanders exchanged uneasy glances. The possibility that the humans were real and active was no longer a distant thought. "Prepare reconnaissance," ordered General Kavorn. "We must learn who they are and what they want." Meanwhile, the human fleet moved with quiet confidence. Their leaders had chosen this moment carefully. After centuries of isolation, humanity was ready to rejoin the galactic community, not as legends, but as a force. In the marketplaces of distant worlds, merchants whispered tales of strange ships appearing on sensor arrays. Pilots in distant outposts reported encounters with vessels that vanished before any confrontation. Fear and fascination grew in equal measure. On the academic world of Lorien Prime, young historian Mira Delan pored over ancient texts. If humans truly exist, it could rewrite everything we know about galactic history, she mused aloud. Her mentor smiled gently. Legends often hold grains of truth. Sometimes, waiting is all that's needed to see them come alive. As night fell on countless planets, the galaxy held its breath. The myths were no longer just stories, they were real, and their warships were arriving. The edge of the Perseus Rift shimmered with unseen energy as the human fleet emerged from hyperspace, massive and silent against the backdrop of distant stars. The flagship Indomitable led the procession, its hull gleaming under the glow of nearby suns. Sleek and purposeful, the human warships moved with a grace that defied their imposing size. Across the galaxy, alarms sounded in the command centers of multiple empires. The Zalari coalition, known for its aggressive expansion, scrambled ships to intercept the unexpected fleet. The Andari Dominion, still reeling from reports, dispatched reconnaissance probes. Admiral Vashakar of the Zalari stood on his bridge, eyes narrowing at the projections before him. Who are these ships? Why have they appeared without warning? His officers hesitated. The design of the human warships was unlike any known alien technology. Their weapon arrays were concealed, their shields shimmering faintly but seemingly impervious. Most startling was the fleet's sheer size, dozens of colossal vessels that dwarfed many of the coalition's own capital ships. We have no record of a species matching their profile, his tactical officer reported. Scans indicate advanced propulsion and energy systems. Their weapons are unlike anything we've seen. Vashakar's voice grew cold with resolve. Prepare to engage. Show them the might of the Zalari. But the humans did not move aggressively. Instead, their warships formed a defensive formation, engines pulsing steadily but no weapons fired. Sensors detected no transmissions, no attempts at communication, only silence. On the distant world of New Tarel, news of the fleet's appearance spread quickly. Citizens gathered around broadcast terminals, watching the grainy feeds of the massive vessels as they held position near the rift. Speculation ran wild. Were the humans a new empire? Refugees from a forgotten war? Or something far more dangerous? Captain Auric Sloan stood calmly on the bridge of the Indomitable, his voice steady as he addressed his crew. We observe only. No aggression unless provoked. Our mission is to understand the galaxy anew and to protect what is ours. Below decks, engineers monitored the warship's systems, ensuring all were ready. The humans had traveled far, but their technology remained flawless, tested through centuries of survival and innovation. Back in the Andari Dominion, the Council of Elders convened urgently. The possibility that humans were not myth, but reality, had shifted the political landscape overnight. The humans could be a threat or an ally, Elder Sira warned. We must approach carefully. Ambassador Loran, representing the Dominions, diplomatic corps, nodded. I propose a formal message, an invitation to communicate. We must learn their intentions before conflict begins. Meanwhile, the Zalari fleet prepared to launch a surprise attack. Unwilling to wait for diplomacy, Admiral Vashakar believed that overwhelming force would intimidate the newcomers. Engage stealth fighters, he ordered. Strike quickly and decisively. We cannot allow unknown forces to challenge us. As the first fighters launched toward the human fleet, sensors picked up their approach. Suddenly, a wave of energy pulsed from the Indomitable, disabling the incoming craft before they could reach striking range. The human ships responded with precision strikes, not to destroy, but to disable enemy vessels. The message was clear. Humans were capable but not seeking total destruction. News of the engagement spread like wildfire, capturing the attention of every corner of the galaxy. What are they? Whispered analysts. Why now? Demanded rulers, and somewhere, hidden within the human fleet, Captain Sloan prepared the next move. We have been waiting, he said quietly. Now, we will be seen. As the star systems watched, the myths were fading into reality. The humans were here, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Zalari coalition's surprise attack had been swift, but it had failed to intimidate the human fleet. Instead, it revealed something far more dangerous: humanity's unexpected power and unyielding resolve. Admiral Vashakar stared at the holomap as his warships reeled from the coordinated counterattack. Disabled fighters drifted in the void, while others were quickly neutralized before they could regroup. The humans did not seek destruction. Their strikes aimed precisely to incapacitate, demonstrating control and confidence. Status report. Vashkar demanded. Significant losses among our fighters, his tactical officer replied grimly. Human ships are faster and more maneuverable than predicted. Their shields absorb and dissipate energy attacks almost effortlessly. Vashakar clenched his fist. We underestimated them. Prepare for full engagement. Target their command. Ships. The humans, led by Captain Arik Sloan aboard the Indomitable, were ready. From the bridge, Sloan's calm voice commanded the fleet. Maintain formation. Focus on disabling rather than destroying. Protect our systems. The humans, weapons, though silent moments before, now unleashed bursts of energy unlike anything the Zalari had faced. Their weaponry was not just powerful, but adaptive, shifting frequencies and patterns to bypass enemy shields. In the thick of the battle, Lieutenant Mara Hensley piloted her fighter with unmatched precision. She darted through enemy lines, striking vulnerable points and drawing fire away from larger ships. Her squadron moved like shadows, coordinated and relentless. Target down, Mara reported, narrowly escaping a missile barrage. Keep pushing! The Zalari fleet faltered under the unexpected assault. Their battleships, though numerous, struggled to keep pace with the humans' speed and strategic maneuvers. We are being outflanked, Vashakar admitted bitterly. Call in reinforcements! But reinforcements came too late. The human fleet executed a daring maneuver surrounding the Zalari flagship Dread Serpent. With a concentrated volley, they disabled its main engines and weapons array. Caught off guard, the Dread Serpent was forced to retreat, limping away under a veil of smoke and sparks. Across the galaxy, news of the battle's outcome spread rapidly. Analysts and leaders alike were stunned. The mythical humans had proven their power, not just with raw strength, but with tactical brilliance and restraint. Back on Earth's distant colonies, the human fleet's victory was celebrated quietly. Captain Sloan addressed his officers. Today we showed that humanity is no legend. Our strength lies not only in technology, but in our will and unity. Meanwhile, the Zalari coalition grappled with the reality of this new enemy. Some began to question their aggressive policies, fearing the humans might reshape the galaxy's balance of power. Amidst the political turmoil, a message arrived from the humans. It was simple but clear. We do not seek conquest. We seek coexistence. But we will defend what is ours. In the Andari Dominion, Elder Sierra listened to the message with cautious hope. Perhaps the humans can be allies, or at least a force for stability. Yet others were wary. Ambassador Loran warned, Their power demands respect. We must prepare for any outcome. As starships repositioned and empires reassessed their strategies, the galaxy's old order began to shift. The race that was once dismissed as myth had returned, and they had already changed everything. The battle had ended, but the galaxy was far from calm. Humans had shown their power, but they remained an enigma. Questions multiplied faster than answers. In the sprawling diplomatic chambers of the Andari Dominion, Ambassador Loran prepared to initiate the first formal contact with the humans. The holographic display before him flickered, showing the sleek outline of the human flagship Indomitable. Your orders are clear, Elder Sierra reminded him. Extend an invitation to negotiate. We must learn who they are and why they have returned. Loran nodded, careful to mask the mixture of excitement and apprehension swirling inside. The humans had shattered centuries of assumptions, and the galaxy's future hung in the balance. Meanwhile, aboard the Indomitable, Captain Arik Sloan received the message with measured curiosity. Prepare a delegation, he instructed. It is time we speak openly. The delegation comprised diverse humans, scientists, diplomats, and veterans, each embodying the resilience and complexity of their species. Among them was Dr. Ilara Mays, a historian who had spent years studying alien cultures and ancient myths. As the human delegation approached the Andari capital, Lorien Prime, the galaxy watched. Every empire, every faction waited for the moment when myths would meet reality. The first meeting took place in a grand hall beneath the shimmering sky of Lorien Prime. Alien delegates from across the galaxy gathered, their expressions a mixture of skepticism and awe. Captain Sloan stepped forward, his voice calm but resolute. "We are humanity. For centuries we endured in the shadows, facing challenges that tested our very existence. Our return is not conquest, but a promise to share knowledge, to protect life, and to stand united." Murmurs spread through the crowd. Some welcomed the message, others remained wary. Dr. Mays spoke next, revealing fragments of humanity's hidden history. "We survived wars, plagues, and cosmic disasters. Our technology advanced not just through science, but through cooperation and learning from every challenge. We are not perfect, but we are determined." Questions flooded the room. Why now? How did you survive? What do you want? From us? Sloan answered honestly. "The galaxy changed while we were gone. Threats grow. Empires strain under their own ambitions. We offer partnership, a new path." But some voices were harsh. A grizzled Zalari warlord sneered, "You are newcomers, untested in galactic politics. How can we trust myths to shape our future?" A heated debate ensued, echoing through the halls of power. The humans listened patiently, showing respect for alien concerns and cultures. In private, Captain Sloan confided to Dr. Mays, "They fear what they don't understand. It is up to us to prove our worth." Days passed, and alliances shifted. Several smaller factions approached the humans, intrigued by their openness and strength. Trade agreements were proposed, joint scientific missions planned. Still, the larger empires remained cautious, unwilling to fully embrace the newcomers. Then, a breakthrough occurred. During a demonstration of human technology, scientists revealed an energy source far cleaner and more efficient than anything known, a promise of sustainable power for countless worlds. The demonstration impressed even the most skeptical elders. It showed humanity's potential not only to fight, but to build, to heal, and to innovate. On the sidelines, young Mira Delan, the historian from Lorien Prime, whispered to her mentor, "Maybe the myths were true in ways we never imagined." Her mentor smiled. "Truth often hides in legend, waiting for eyes brave enough to see." As the summit concluded, humans and aliens alike faced a choice: cling to old fears or embrace a future shaped by cooperation. Captain Sloan looked out at the stars from the Indomitable's bridge. "Our journey has only begun," he said softly. "The galaxy will come to know humanity, not as myths, but as partners." Across the galaxy, hope flickered. The mystery of humanity was being unveiled, and with it, a new chapter was dawning. The echoes of the summit on Lorien Prime still reverberated throughout the galaxy. The presence of humans, once dismissed as myths, was no longer a question of if, but how they would shape the future. As the dust settled from the first diplomatic encounters, alliances began to shift, old rivalries were tested, and new opportunities emerged. In the council chambers of the Andari Dominion, Elder Sira addressed the gathered representatives. "The arrival of humanity challenges us all. Their strength and vision offer hope but also disruption. We must decide where we stand." Several voices rose in agreement, eager to forge an alliance with the humans, hoping to benefit from their advanced technology and strategic prowess. Others warned against rushing into partnerships that could upset the fragile balance of power. Among those wary was the Zalari coalition, licking their wounds from the recent battle. Admiral Vashakar met with his closest advisors aboard the battered flagship Dread Serpent. "We underestimated humanity," Vashakar admitted grimly. "Our aggression only revealed their power. Now, they grow stronger with every alliance they forge." His chief strategist responded, "We must form counter-alliances. If we stand divided, humanity's influence will consume us." The galaxy watched as smaller factions, once isolated and powerless, began reaching out to humanity. Their willingness to cooperate and share knowledge stood in stark contrast to the traditional empire's rigid hierarchies. On the planet Dracos, a former mining colony plagued by corruption and neglect, a delegation met with human diplomats. "Your presence brings hope," said Governor Terran. "For years we've struggled against oppressive forces. Perhaps with your help, we can reclaim our future." Human envoy Dr. Alara Mays smiled warmly. "Our mission is not to rule, but to empower. Together we can build something new." Trade routes reopened, scientific exchanges flourished, and cultural festivals celebrating human and alien heritage sparked curiosity and goodwill. But not all were pleased. In secret chambers across the galaxy, conspirators whispered of sabotage and subterfuge. The rising influence of humanity threatened the status quo, and some factions plotted to undermine the fragile peace. Ambassador Loran received intelligence reports of mysterious attacks on supply convoys allied with humans. "These are deliberate acts," he warned. "Someone wants to provoke conflict." Captain Auric Sloan convened his senior officers aboard the Indomitable. "We must remain vigilant. Our strength lies in unity and restraint. Let us not fall into the trap of escalation." Yet the tension was palpable. Each alliance made, each technology shared, shifted the delicate balance. In the Andari Dominion, Elder Sira pondered the future. Humanity's arrival is a test, for them and for us. How we respond will determine the fate of the galaxy. Meanwhile, on the Zalari homeworld, Admiral Vashakar prepared a bold strategy. If we cannot outmatch them in power, we will outmaneuver them politically. He reached out to other dissatisfied factions, proposing a coalition to contain human influence. "We will remind the galaxy that power must be earned, not given." Back with the humans, Dr. Mays studied the growing web of alliances. "This is more than politics," she said to Sloan. "It's a chance to rewrite history." Sloan nodded. "And with it, a responsibility to protect those who believe in us." As starships carried diplomats and supplies across space, the galaxy held its breath. The era of myths had ended. The era of humans and their allies had begun. Tensions that had simmered beneath the surface now boiled over into open conflict. The fragile alliances forming around the humans threatened the old powers who had ruled the galaxy for centuries. The Zalari coalition, unwilling to accept their diminished influence, struck first. It began with a sudden and brutal attack on a human outpost stationed near the vital trade hub of Yalara Station. The assault was swift and merciless. Zalari warships struck with overwhelming force, targeting supply lines and communication arrays. Captain Auric Sloan received the distress call aboard the Indomitable. "Prepare for immediate deployment," he ordered. "We cannot let them take Yalara." Within hours, human fleets surged into the conflict zone. Their ships moved with fluid precision, cutting through enemy lines and protecting civilians caught in the crossfire. Lieutenant Mara Hensley led a squadron of fighters to defend Yalara's orbital platforms. "We hold the line," she radioed. "No ground lost." Despite the Zalari's aggressive tactics, humanity's strategic flexibility and technological superiority quickly turned the tide. Their warships employed new forms of energy shielding, adaptive weapon systems, and advanced drone swarms that overwhelmed traditional defenses. But the battle was more than a test of technology. It was a battle of wills. Human soldiers fought, not just for victory, but to protect the ideals of cooperation and peace they had promised. On the ground, Allied forces rallied behind the humans. Many oppressed species, long suffering under imperial rule, saw in humanity a beacon of hope and courage. From hidden bases, rebel groups coordinated strikes against Zalari supply lines, inspired by human resilience. Amid the chaos, Captain Sloan convened his commanders. This war will test everything we stand for. We must be relentless but just. Our strength comes not only from firepower, but from honor. The Zalari, frustrated by repeated failures, escalated their attacks. Entire star systems became battlegrounds as fleets clashed in epic confrontations. Yet every defeat bred determination within the human ranks. Each victory inspired new alliances and deepened trust with former rivals. Across the galaxy, spectators watched the conflict unfold. Some cheered the humans as liberators, others feared the unstoppable rise of this once-forgotten race. In the Anduri Dominion, Elder Sira addressed the council. War threatens to consume us all. We must choose, stand with humanity or risk losing everything to chaos. But choices were not easy. Many factions hesitated, torn between loyalty to old empires and hope for a new future. Back on the Indomitable, Sloan prepared a bold maneuver. We will strike at the heart of the Zalari coalition, their command station on Krylos. It was a daring plan, fraught with risk. But it offered the chance to end the war swiftly and decisively. As human warships moved toward Krylos, the galaxy braced for a confrontation that would decide its fate. The myths had awakened, and now they fought. Not for legend, but for survival and hope. The crimson glow of Krylos's twin suns cast long shadows over the vast Zalari command station orbiting the planet below. It was a fortress unlike any other, a sprawling complex of energy towers, docking bays, and heavily armed defense platforms. For the Zalari coalition, Krylos was their heart, their command center, and their symbol of power. Now, it was the target. From the depths of space, the human fleet advanced with unwavering determination. The Indomitable led the charge, engines blazing as it cut through enemy defenses. Captain Arik Sloan stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the holographic representation of Krylos's defenses. Weapons online. Shields at full capacity, reported Lieutenant Mara Hensley, her voice steady despite the tension. The Zalari had prepared for this assault, deploying waves of fighters and automated turrets to repel the attackers. As the first human ships entered the command station's orbit, a fierce battle erupted. Explosions lit the void as energy beams and missiles streaked across space. Human fighters weaved expertly through the chaos, disabling enemy turrets and targeting missile launchers with precision strikes. Despite the overwhelming defenses, the humans' coordinated tactics and superior technology began to turn the tide. In the midst of battle, Captain Sloan made a decisive call. Deploy the drone swarms. Focus on disrupting their communication arrays. The swarms burst from the Indomitable, small but deadly machines that infiltrated enemy systems, severing connections and sowing confusion among the Zalari forces. On the surface of Krylos, the command station's leadership struggled to maintain control. Admiral Vashakar, battered but unbroken, barked orders amid the turmoil. Regroup the fighters. Hold the inner defenses at all costs. We cannot lose Krylos. But, as the drone swarms disabled key systems, the Zalari response faltered. Communications broke down and coordinated defenses became disorganized. Seizing the opportunity, the human fleet launched a concentrated assault on the station's core. Within the command station, sabotage teams led by human operatives infiltrated. Through docking bays, disabling critical power relays and security systems. Every inch of progress was met with fierce resistance, but human determination pushed forward. The battle was not just in space, but within the walls of the fortress. As the station's defenses crumbled, the Zalari forces began to retreat, signaling defeat. From the Indomitable's bridge, Sloan observed the turning point. Prepare boarding. Parties, we take Krylos. The final moments were a testament to human grit and teamwork. Boarding parties secured control rooms, capturing vital intelligence and securing prisoners. The fall of Krylos sent shockwaves through the galaxy. The mighty Solari coalition was crippled, their power fractured. On the victorious human flagship, a sense of solemn triumph filled the air. Captain Sloan addressed his crew. "We fought with honor and strength. Today, we have opened a path for peace." Back on Lorien Prime, news of the victory sparked celebrations and cautious hope. Allies and former rivals alike began to envision a future reshaped by the rise of humanity, but Captain Sloan knew the journey was far from over. "This victory is a step, not the end," he told Dr. Alara Mays. "The galaxy must still learn to trust." The myths of humanity had awakened a new era, one forged in courage, resilience, and a vision for a united galaxy. The once imposing Zalari command station on Krylos now floated silent and crippled, a testament to the turning tides of galactic power. With its fall, the Zalari coalition fractured, leaving a power vacuum that rippled across star systems once bound by fear and dominance. Aboard the Indomitable, Captain Auric Sloan stood before his crew, the weight of victory heavy but tempered by responsibility. "Today we've not only won a battle, we've opened a path to a future where cooperation replaces conquest." His words echoed through the ship's corridors and across the fleet, sparking renewed hope among allies and cautious optimism among former foes. Back on Lorien Prime, the Andari Dominion convened a historic assembly. Representatives from dozens of species gathered, united by the shared goal of rebuilding a fractured galaxy. Elder Syra, her voice calm but resolute, addressed the council. "Humanity's return challenges us all, not with conquest, but with an invitation. An invitation to build a galaxy where myths are replaced by truth and where strength serves peace." The Assembly voted to establish the Galactic Concord, a new coalition dedicated to mutual defense, shared knowledge, and diplomatic resolution. Even some former adversaries reached out, recognizing that unity was the only path forward. In the quieter corners of space, Dr. Alara Mays recorded these historic moments, chronicling the dawn of an era many thought impossible. "The myths of humanity were never just stories," she mused. "They were warnings and promises. But peace was not without its challenges. Old grudges simmered beneath the surface, and not all factions embraced the new order. Admiral Vashakar, held prisoner but defiant, warned his captors, "You may have won today, but the galaxy is vast, and power shifts like the stars." Captain Sloan met his gaze without hesitation. "Perhaps. But today we choose a different path." With Krylos secured and the Zalari coalition diminished, the human fleet turned toward new horizons, exploring uncharted systems, establishing alliances, and sharing technology that could uplift entire worlds. On a distant colony, Mira Delan, now an ambassador of the Galactic Concord, watched the stars with hope. "We are no longer myths," she said softly. "We are the future." As the Indomitable and its fleet sailed into the unknown, their journey symbolized more than exploration. It represented a commitment, a promise that humanity would stand not as conquerors, but as guardians. The galaxy, once divided and wary, began to heal, and from the ashes of old empires rose a new dawn. The myths had become legend, the legends, reality, and humanity, the light guiding the way.